Last time we talked about the worship of being grateful, and we know that this is half of the faith. What about the other half? This is our topic tonight, inshallah. The patience, which is the second half of faith. No servant will benefit from his faith unless he have a combination of being grateful and being patient. The faith, the iman, the belief in Allah, half of it is being grateful, and the other half is being patient. And depends on how grateful you are, how patient you are. This is what determines how strong of a believer you are. The servant need patience in worshiping Allah, and also in learning, how to do commerce or trade or work on everything. And the benefit of patience is very beautiful in this life, and it has a great reward in the hereafter. Patient, just like its name, as-sabr, the plant that's called as-sabr, which is the cactus actually. It's very bitter in taste, but it is very sweet or very good. It's sweeter than honey. The patience came in Quran in more than 90 places. It was mentioned in the book of Allah more than 90 times. One time Allah ordered us with it, and sometimes Allah compliments the people who are patient, and sometimes Allah reminds us of the benefit of it, and sometimes Allah forbids us from going the opposite of patience. What is patience? Patience is to hold yourself from al-jaza', which is to go to the extreme in sadness, like hold your tongue from complaining, hold your limbs from doing something that are wrong. Three parts that makes the patience. To hold yourself from the overdone of crying and complain, to holding your tongue from complaining, and not to do anything that is forbidden. Meaning that you have to accept everything Allah gave you with an open heart, with an open chest. The scholars, they actually have a different definition. They said it is to believe, the complete belief, the trust that has no doubt that what hit you was not going to miss you, and whatever missed you will not be getting you, and everything has a destiny. Where the sadness that is when you say, "Oh, I wish if I did this," or no matter what you say, no matter what you did, whatever happened to you, there was nothing you could have done it or stop what Allah has put after it comes down. And this is what Allah denied the disbelievers, and He said this is the transgression of the ignorance, because they think of Allah the wrong thinking. They said, do we have any matter? He said, all matters in the hand of Allah. What is their guess? They used to say, and they are denying the Prophet ﷺ leadership. They said, if it is up to them, they will not die in the battle. They will not have people who died in Uhud, claiming that because the Prophet ﷺ did not listen to him. And Allah said, all matters is in the hand of Allah. They hide in themselves what they do not show to you, Muhammad. And they say, if it is up to us, they will not be dying here. And Allah saying, if you were in your houses, then those that Allah has written on them death, they will come to them. If there is no battle, but Allah has written that some people will die at that day, they will go to their destiny, so they could die in that place. Wherever Allah writ the complete belief that what happened to you was not going to miss you, and whatever missed you was not going to hit you. This is the complete trust in Allah. No one. That's why if you know that, if you have good trust in Allah, you know everything happened with Allah's permission, and whomever believes in Allah, Allah will guide his heart. The calamity will come, and you know it's from Allah, so you calm down because you know Allah writes what is good for you, no matter how hard it is, and you accept it. So Allah will guide your heart. The people of patience are the people of the right hand, because Allah said they are among those who believed and they advise each other with patience. These are the people of the right hand. And those who disbelieved, they have fire that's attached to them. These are the people of the left. The people of the right are the ones who's going to survive. They will be saved at the day of judgment. Because Allah said, when He swear by the time, that indeed all humans are lost except those who are believed and they knew the truth and they did the good deeds. They embrace each other with patience and they embrace with the truth. And the Prophet ﷺ said, amazing is the matter of the Muslims, the believer. All his matters are good for him. If he is being hit by calamity, he is patient and he gets reward for it. And if he got a goodness from Allah, he is thankful and grateful. Allah rewards him for that. And Ali used to say that patience from faith, just like the head compared to the body. If you cut the head, there is no body. There is no need for this body. So if there is no patience, there is no goodness in that person. The example that Allah mentioned in the Quran, Allah said, is given the example of the believers, is the story of Ayub. Allah said that we have found him patient, good servant is Ayub. Allah found him patient. He is the good servant. He is always repentant. And this is a compliment from Allah. When Allah compliments the prophets, He is raising their status. For others could be a punishment, but to the prophets and to the righteous of the servant of Allah, it is to raise them in status and to glorify their status in the sight of Allah. The most tested are the prophets, not because of sins they have done or mistake they made. It is so Allah will raise their status in the hereafter and to give them the high status with Him. Listen to this hadith from Ayub alayhi salam, that his sickness stayed with him 18 years. 18 years, and everybody deserted him. All those relatives, everybody stayed away from him. Some people might have a calamity, and when you get a calamity and everybody around you leaves you, it makes it double the calamity. Except two of his brothers used to go to him day and night. One of them, he told his friend, you know, by Allah, that Ayub here made a sin that no one else has sinned. He must have sinned something that no one else done before. He told him how. He said, since 18 years, Allah did not give him mercy to relieve that calamity. I'm sure he did something wrong. No one have done anything like him. So when they went to Ayub, the other man could not have patience. So he told him what that dialogue or that debate that happened between them. So he mentioned this to Ayub that my friend said that I don't know what can you say. I don't know. So Ayub said, I don't know if I made a sin. This is all a matter to Allah. Except that Allah knows that I used to go between the two men who are disputing and they mention Allah. So I'll go back to my house and I make the kafar so Allah will not be mentioned except in the truth. Two people who are disputing, this one is swearing by Allah and this one is swearing by Allah, so one of them must be a liar. Definitely one of them is a liar. So Ayub used to go back to his house to make kafara on this person and another kafara on the other one. He has nothing to do with that dispute. He have nothing to do with those people who, but he heard them swearing by Allah and he hate to Allah will be mentioned except in the truth, in glorifying Allah, and he hate that his name will be mentioned in vain. So he used to go to the restroom or whenever he's finished, a woman will hold him in his hand until he reach, and one time he slowed down on her and it was inspired to him, run in your leg. And his wife, she saw him and Allah had taken everything in the calamity and he was in the best form he was. When she saw him, he said, may Allah bless you, have you seen the Prophet of Allah who is being tested by Allah? I haven't seen anyone look like him more than you before he was sick. He said, it is me. I am that man. And he used to have two gardens with wheat and Allah sent two clouds. One of them put gold, the other one he trained silver. If Allah wants to give his silver, he could do anything he wants with no accountability, until the whole storage was full of gold, the other was full of gold when the other was silver, and Allah gave him the same amount of his family and more. And this is a reminder for those who could contemplate. And that's why Allah said, we found him patient, and he's a good patient, good servant. So being patient is the best thing you could have. And it was mentioned that Ali ibn Abi Talib, he used to say, if you ask about me, I'm patient on the time. I'm very concerned that nobody see what's wrong with you, so no enemy will mock you and no one who loves you will be saddened for you. And Allah, who has the calamity of everything, he has sources. And if and the Sheikh is reciting a poetry, is on the same meaning. The whole poetry is about being patient, that Allah Azza wa Jal reward with the patience, and it is the key for any ease. We all cry on this life, and there is no And there is nobody that this life gathered people that did not separate later on. Where is those tyrants who get all the money? Everything is gone. Death is coming, and people are dying. And whoever is arrogant and deceived is stupid, is foolish. So patience is the second half of faith, of belief. So belief, half of it is patient and the other one is gratitude. What about the types of patience? You have to be patient of three times. The first one, from disobeying Allah, that you hold yourself from disobedience of Allah, even if there is a reason. You hold yourself, you are patient, you don't. Someone talk to himself about adultery, and he stopped himself from it, even though all reasons are available for him. This is the patience on disobedience of Allah. And the example that Allah mentioned in the Quran is the example of Yusuf alayhi salam when he refused to have adultery with her. When the one who is wealthy, beautiful, with a status, and she closed the doors and she said, I am here for you. He said, I seek Allah's refuge. He is my Lord. He is. And my Lord, the one, your husband, he did me good. If I betray him in his family, I am a tyrant. And he want to push her away from him, and she want to push him toward her. And that's how we sent away the adultery. This is the patience of Yusuf from adultery. And some scholars, Ash-Shanqiti, used to say, he said, all the people around it, they show the honesty of Yusuf, her husband, the witnesses, and herself, and himself. He said, she put herself to me, and it needs a proof. He said, she forced me on myself, because it says that he ran to the door and she tore his shirt. And look how, when she saw her husband at the door, said, what is the punishment for this person who is trying to rape your wife? Except to be punished severely and be sent to prison. She became the judge and the attorney general and the policeman. And he said, in defense of himself, she gave herself to me. She is the one who want to force me. This is the defense of the most honored, the one who is the prophet and son of a prophet, sons of prophet, son of prophet. So everything came to witness in his side. The witnesses, they said, if the shirt was torn from the front, then he is lying. But if it is from the back, then she is lying and he is among the truthful. And Allah made a child who took them to the clarity. Her husband. He said, Yusuf, just be quiet. And he asked her to ask for forgiveness. You were among the wrong. That's her husband. He said, Yusuf, just close this subject. And he turned to her and he said, ask forgiveness for your sin. You are among the mistaken. And then she herself, the one who claimed that on him, she said, then now the truth is shown. I gave myself to him, and he is among the truthful. So he will know that I did not betray him, and Allah does not support the treason people. And then Allah, the best witness, so we could keep the adultery from him. That's how we save our servants, the special servant, until Allah take the earth and everything, and then life stops. And that's why from the 7 that Allah will cover him under his shade, a woman called him to have adultery, and she is from prestigious status, and she is wealthy, and he said, I fear Allah. So this is the first patience, is to stay away from sin. The second type of patience, to have patience on obedience of Allah, on the obligation. Like when in winter time and you're sleepy, and especially Fajr time, the shaitan makes the best sleep in the time at Fajr. That patience to go against yourself and to go for Fajr, this is a true patience. So when a person is patient on obedience of Allah, and he strengthens himself, and he stops it from the self-desires, then he will be among those that Allah said their bodies are shaken from the beds. They want to pray to Allah, and no one knows what Allah has hidden for them from the thing that will be pleasant to their eyes. Ameen. Ameen. So the second type of patience is to be patient on the obedience of Allah. And the third one is to be patient on the destiny of Allah, on the thing that Allah has written, all the bitterness or the sweetness, the good and the bad. Allah the Almighty, Allah decree on His servant what is best for him, where the worship of Allah will be grateful. Abu Ata al-Iskandari used to say, whomever cannot see the goodness of Allah, then he will be tested severely. Those who do not see the goodness of Allah, then the test will cover him. Allah will bestow goodness to some of His servants, and this person forget to be grateful to Allah. Allah will touch him with some punishment as a mercy, because Allah is reminding him to go back to Allah, and He's bringing him back to Him. Allah take from him the worship of patience, so he'll be humble to Allah. Allah said, we have taken them with the punishment, and they did not come down to their Lord, and whatever they so whenever you have the calamity, you have to hold yourself from the displeasure in your heart, or by action, whether it's by some words you say or with your hands. What voids the patience is the words of displeasure that the shaitan put on the tongues of some people. They say, it was not for us, we don't deserve this. Why are we getting this punishment? It's like saying, why me? Well, Allah chose me out of all His creations to test me. Yeah, millions of people to test. Why am I chosen to be tested this severely, or to give me this kind of punishment? Also, when people hurt themselves, their bodies, or tore their clothes, the Prophet ﷺ, it's not among us who does this. Some people, whenever they hear the calamity, they cut their clothes out of displeasure with Allah. Some people used to say, when you do that, you are out of religion, as if you are taking Islam out of you. Of course, we don't say that. this is not really, it's just in trying to make it hard to be, because the sins are among the people of ignorant. They don't become disbelievers unless they put partners with him. Allah said He does not forgive that he put partners with, and He will forgive whatever He wish after that. Of course, there is another status that's higher than patience, which is to be satisfied with Allah. Those who are satisfied with Allah is more than the person's patient. The patient person, he will hold his tongue, his limbs, but inside of him, he's not happy. He has that bitterness. But the satisfied person, he accepted what Allah has given him in his heart. He has accepted what Allah chose for him. He knew that Allah is more kind to him, and what Allah chose for him is better than what he chose for himself. And this calamity that happened to him, it's for on his own good. And Allah is more merciful than his own mother and his soul that he holds. Remember this, and you will go from patient to satisfaction with Allah, to accept what Allah has given you, what He had destined for you. What's the difference between the patient person and the one who is satisfied? The patient, his heart is broke, but he has stopped himself from anything disobedience of Allah. But the satisfied person, he's accepting everything comes from Allah, and he is always walking positively with all the tests from Allah. That's why the scholar said that satisfaction is the highest status from patience. That's why they say patience is obligated, but satisfaction it's recommended. Allah will accept from you to be patient with deep sorrow in your heart and pain in your heart, as long as this would not take you to displeasure with Allah, whether it's by saying something or doing an action. And this is from the Shara, the laws of Islam, and it's dealing with the nature of the humans that open to the saddened person and a way to relieve himself, like did not stop him from crying, did not forbid that you are sad. And Prophet said, "O Ibrahim, his son who died, indeed the eye will tear and the heart will broken, and we say only what pleases Allah. We all belong to Allah. We all shall be coming back to Him." Also in the weddings, there are certain things that are allowed to show the happiness and to be good to the kids, which relieve the soul and to energize it. This is from the working of the Sharia with the nature of the humans. That's why for each time there is something that is suitable for. It's not suitable to talk about the bride in her wedding day, about death and the grave, even though truth is death is truth and it's gonna come, and the grave is we're all gonna go visit that, but that's not the time to go and talk to your bride on her wedding day. Talk about death and grave and what happened in the grave. This is when you are talking about something in the wrong place at the wrong time. So someone is asking, which one is better? We have talked about patient on the on disability and the one on the calamity. The patience, the best, the patient with the worship of Allah, because you are holding yourself and working your body. And also the second one is to stop the soul from entering the disobedience of Allah. And the third one is to have trust in Allah and to be patient on whatever happens, because either you be patient or be like animals. You have no choice anyway, because everybody will forget after a while. No calamity stays up forever. Allah made for each calamity a law that is different than the other global things, because everything is born small and then it grows, except the calamities. It is born big and then it goes down. That's why patience is in the first time. And whoever is not patient, he'll be like the animals. It was said that a woman, her husband died, and she was very attached to him. And she made a place for him. He is underneath the ground, and she is right next to him. After a year, that's it. She took that tent down and left, went back. And she said, did they find what they missed? Someone said, no, they went to spare and they went back home. Nothing of what you say stays the same. Allah stays, and all humans and wealth will be gone. Ameen. From the one who is patient, sometimes his calamity is different. So being patient on the disobedience of Allah, and the reward, it depends on the severity of the pain that you go through. If a man, for example, is intoxicated and he repents to Allah, but he still that attachment to liquor, and then he had the opportunity to drink, of course it is harder for him to not drink than to pray 2 rak'ahs. One alcoholic, it's very hard for him to stop drinking. If a young man, a woman asks him to have adultery with him in a secluded area with the best atmosphere, darkness, and he refuses, of course that person, it is harder for him than to stand the night prayers all night long. His struggle to refuse the disobedience of Allah, to resist temptation, it's more painful on himself than to pray 20 rak'ahs or to stay the whole night up. Sometimes the reward of patience against sin, it is higher than being patient on obedience of Allah, because what you find in difficulties, so you get reward of what you have of severity of the calamity. The people who are patient are the close people to Allah. Allah said He is with the people who are patient. This is a specific one that deserves His support to them, and patience is good for those. And Allah said, if you are patient, it is better for you. Those who are patient, Allah gives them their status of their special status that Allah gives them. Whomever is patient and forgives, it is from the great matters. Allah also said that He will reward for patience the best. Allah said we will give those who are patient the best that they used to do. And with the piety and patience you get the victory. Allah said if you are patient and you fear Allah, nothing will harm you. If you are patient, Allah support you with 5,000 of angels who are ready. So the human being always have to be patient and to use prayers as a tool. Allah said, use patience and prayers. Whomever makes himself, Allah will give you the patience. If you force yourself to be patient, Allah will give you the patience. No one was given something that is bigger from being patient. And whoever was given something better than being patient, then have the glad tidings with Allah. He is most forgiving. Allah said, for those who struggle in our path, we will guide them our ways. The Shaykh recited a poetry about the patient that is very recommended, and whomever wants something, he needs to use patient and he will be successful. May Allah make us among the patient. Shall continue on Thursday.
الله أكبر الله أكبر